Today is Friday, September 8th. It's about 10:15. Just making a pot of coffee. Just got up a little while ago, tried to maximize my sleep. Just about to start my tapering for the New York trip, which is a week from today. Today's September 8th. I'm leaving on the 15th. I'd recorded a couple clips before today, but I was just listening to them, and I don't really think that they were a very good quality or representative of what should have been included in this. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time just for a bit of reflection about this whole trip. I'm going to do a little recovery ride today. It's like a little 20-mile thing, a little loop that I used to do over through, east of East Atlanta. Hey, little baby egg. You go outside? I keep thinking about this thing that my coworker said to me about this trip, where he was like, do you anticipate being out there and just being like, why am I doing this? And when he said that, I don't remember what I said, but my thought, my internal reaction was like, I guess sort of the reason why I'm doing this at all is because I'm kind of chasing that feeling. Like, I kind of, in a certain way, I want to get to a point where I ask myself why I'm doing this. Like, that's sort of the point. Like, to get to that level of rawness, I guess, or something. I'm okay if I don't get to that point too, if I just enjoy it the whole time in a very challenging kind of way. The mental mindset that you have to get into to be questioning why you're doing something or why you're putting yourself through something. That's probably a low point if you get there. And so I guess I'm not encouraging myself to go to a bad spot mentally, but I did just want to kind of reflect on that, because it's going to be quite a challenge. I feel like I'm pretty well ready for it at this point. I was doing some review, I think it was the other day, I don't remember what day it was, earlier this week, just to kind of see how many centuries I've ridden since deciding that I wanted to do this trip, because I feel like I decided to do it in early July, in the summer. I'm gonna turn off this radio real quick. We got lots of bad news out right now with the hurricanes coming through Florida and the, I guess, Atlantic islands south of Florida. But yeah, back in July, I was trying to. In fact, I have an email. That I sent to my HR department about asking if it would be possible for me to take off time so that I could try to do the cross-country route. So if I can figure out when I sent that email, that would be about the time that I decided to do this trip. Or at least it would be like a week after I decided to do New York. But anyway, since I decided, it was sometime in July. And I've done close to 10 centuries since then. I think I've actually maybe done 7, but did the Chattanooga, which was 170 each way. I did Fresh Air, which was 120. I did the One Love Century, which is about 140. I did a little thing around Lilburn that was 100. I did the Athens ride, which is 160. So 6 that come to mind. I feel like I did more, but I mean, I may not have. And the recovery from all those rides, I think just getting my mind acclimated to what it feels like, and my body as well, to be done with a ride that long, but still need to do stuff. When I get home, I always make dinner, and, I have to clean up dinner as well. I'm looking up that email now. I have to think of keywords that I used to send it, but I believe it was sabbatical. If you could pull up. So I guess, since July I've had, a couple months still working a full-time job and having a regular life to train for this. So I feel like I've done as much as I could. I've gotten all my equipment and everything as well. My parents just got me some really reflective jerseys that I'll be wearing. I was kind of skeptical about whether or not I would like what they got, because I'm pretty picky about stuff. And so I was trying stuff on last night, and I actually do like what they got. It's like a very bright fluorescent yellow jersey, and they've got me this vest, or not even a vest, it's like a belt that goes around your torso. It's like, I guess, a vest without any kind of real vestiness to it. I know that doesn't make sense, but I'll take pictures. A sip of coffee. So yeah, I'm seeing that I sent an email to my HR department on July 9th about biking across the country. So it would have been after that I decided to do New York. And I think I biked to Chattanooga on the 20th with Emery. And so I think it was just that week on the 20th that I decided that I would try to do New York. So just about 3 months of preparation from that point. And again, I've tried to do all that I could, although I've designed my whole program myself. So I'm not sure if I've necessarily done everything, but I feel like I've tried to prepare myself as well as I could. I started eating meat again so that I could try to rebuild my body as best I could after these huge efforts, repeated efforts. It takes a lot. I mean, it's 10 hours in the saddle to go from Atlanta to Athens. It's 160 miles, which is just about as long as going to Chattanooga, at least one way. So all those things, hopefully it's been enough. I've definitely never done this many consecutive rides of this magnitude in this period of time, but I'm looking at people like Mike Hall and Mark Beaumont, the two names I have on my Road ID wristband that says, remember Mark, remember Mike. What I'm doing is definitely hard for the average person, I guess, just to get up and go do. But even still, what I'm doing isn't necessarily the hardest version of what I could be doing. I'm doing this trip in 10 days from the 15th to the 24th. So like 1,100 miles, and Mark Beaumont is doing 240 miles a day, which, means he'd be getting to New York in less than half the time. Mike Hall, he might even do less than that. Who knows? I mean, I think that documentary on the race across America, I think he was doing like 300 miles the first day, which if you're doing 300 miles, you're on the bike for it's got to be 20 hours, because I mean Mark's doing 16 hours a day, and he's making 240 just barely, depending on conditions and everything. And so you'd really have to be putting yourself through some intense pain, some intense endurance, some very testing scenarios to get to be anything over what I'm going to be doing. I'm basically doing a century a day, which first few days are kind of front loaded with a lot of climbing. I know there's one day it's 100 miles and it's like 10,000 feet of climbing, which is a lot. This week I think I've done about 170 miles just here and there. We had Labor Day off for Monday, so I took that opportunity to do a little 76 mile ride. So nothing too intense with that ride. There's a lot of climbing. I was going north for the whole time basically. But didn't want to do anything too intense because I'm really trying to wean myself off now. But yeah, I think I've already done 10,000 feet total with all the rides that I've done so far this week. So 10,000 feet in one day, that'll be intense, especially weighed down with gear and everything. But I'm just going to pace myself, and to keep focused on the day itself and the tasks that need to be accomplished in that day, but also try to keep enough in the tank for the following days and everything. And thankfully, the way this ride is designed, or not even really designed, thankfully things work out such that as I get closer and closer to New York, the elevation profiles go down. So I've got 2 days, the last 2 days, biking from I want to say somewhere in Virginia to Delaware. That's like 150 miles. And then another day, which is like Delaware to New York, which is 160 miles. 2 distances that I feel comfortable with, but that have a lot less climbing. Like I think 4 to 5,000 feet of climbing both between those 2 days. Which is to say, both of those days would have a combined total of 8,000 feet. So hoping that everything stays good. It is a challenge for sure, and that's the whole point. So I don't want it to be easy, and it won't be. So I guess I'll get what I want. But I am nervously excited about the whole thing, and was feeling a lot more hesitant about it from a safety perspective. Was feeling like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I guess, met with Lindsay and Jacob, and we talked just about the whole trip and everything. Not too much, but I know Lindsay was pretty concerned about my safety, which put the thought about my safety's jeopardy in my mind, and that was something to consider for sure, because I don't want to be unsafe, and I definitely want to take all the precautions that I can, to be properly seen and everything like that. Because I think physically, in a vacuum, I think I can do this trip without any kind of worry, but you add the element of the unknown and people and everything like that, and the risk factors go up. Anyway, since that time, I have done a few things. Come on, Egg. Egg wants to come back inside. She's screaming. Like I said, my parents got me those reflective materials, which make me feel a lot more visible, which I think is an important part of it. I've also gotten a rear view mirror type thing for my bike, so I can see cars behind me without having to turn my head, which looks really, really dorky, and it's not something that I'll probably keep on my bike after the trip, but I am really glad to have it, because having cars come up behind me is definitely like one of the sketchiest parts of biking. And James, one of my friends, that was another century, I forgot, I biked back from the mountains, my parents' house, so that was at least 8 centuries that I've done since July. James told me that the most common fatality for cyclists is being hit from behind. And, I've got some evasive maneuvers. I know how to move around on my bike. So if I had just a little bit of warning, like I see someone behind me, it looks like they're coming too close, or they're coming too fast, or it looks like they're not paying attention, then I'll be able to hopefully, get off the road or whatever I need to do. But today, got a few things on the agenda. Going to do some yard work, a bunch of low-intensity stuff, staying active and everything, keeping my body ready to go, but nothing intense, bike-wise anyway. So, yard work. I'd like to take the dogs to the dog park, maybe go to the grocery store, last grocery store run before going to New York. I need to get Erica's oil changed. I feel like there's something else. I definitely want to go through the house. Oh, I also want to clean and prep my bike. I think today or tomorrow, probably today, or maybe tomorrow, I don't know. I'm going to go through my bike and do a clean and a tune-up. And then I'm going to set this bike aside, the bike I'm taking to New York, because it's supposed to rain this week as the hurricane aftermath comes from the East Coast further inland. And I think I'll just ride another one of my bikes for the rest of the week until Friday, so that I can keep this bike in good shape, and then I'll just know that it's ready to go, and it doesn't need to be further tuned or cleaned or anything. All I'll have to do is pack it up. So, yeah, it's looking good. I mean, this bike is ready for it. I've got 4 bags, all pretty high capacity. And go look at my little stockpile of stuff that I've got for the trip itself. I'm planning on keeping about a 2 days worth of food with me at all times, and I'll have just about 3 liters of water. I've got, let's see, I'm gonna have around 5 tubes with me in case of flats, my reflective vest and shirt, my sun sleeves, gloves, sun sleeves for my legs as well, so I don't have to put sunscreen on, but I don't get sunburnt. Suntan lotion, toiletries, including lotions and cami cream, toothbrush, bike lock. Got 3 waterproof bags for electronics and clothes and the toiletries themselves. Some arm warmers and leg warmers, small towel, spare derailleur hanger, spare gear cable, spare brake cable, emergency medical kit, emergency toilet paper, hope I don't have to use that, spare tire, some additional zip ties, 4 spare spokes, some chain lube, some chapstick, some small soap for showering. Got a small little thing, like a half pint of Evan Williams whiskey. That's for emergencies. So if I'm really if I need a stark change of mind for some reason, I got that. And then I've got some decaf Starbucks instant coffee. That's basically all I'm taking. I mean, I definitely have some stuff already on my bike. Some additional tools that are always with the bike itself, and I haven't packed my clothes yet, but I mean, I have this little area in my bike room, and all this stuff has been laid out and is basically ready to go. But like I said, I want to go through the whole house and just kind of make sure that everything from every room has been considered, and that I'll either take it or not take it. But I'm trying to go as light as possible because, climbing up all those mountains, it's not easy when you only have 2 water bottles, and it's certainly not easy if you're carrying like 15 or 20 extra pounds of stuff either. So I think that's sort of my mental dump for now, sort of the preamble for the ride. A week from today, I will be, a couple hours into biking to the cabin to meet my parents at the cabin where they have their mountain house. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited about it. I'm not sure if it's going to spawn like the inspiration for more of these kinds of trips in the future, or if I'll just be glad that I did it and be glad that I'm done and not have to worry about it again. But everything is basically set now. I've got the Airbnbs all set up along the way, and every other house style that I'm staying at. We got Erica's flight. I've got my bike box ready to be sent to New York so that I can take my bike back on Amtrak, which is how Erica and I are getting back. We got the Airbnb for while we're there. We don't have much in the way of an itinerary once we finally get to New York. I'd like to see a couple things, the World Trade Center, some places that the YouTuber Austin Augie goes to that I see watching his channel all the time, a couple coffee shops and camera shops and stuff like that. I'd like to go to maybe bike shops and maybe see a comedy show somewhere. Not really sure. I'll have to look up like famous comedy store, comedy venues in New York. But all of that being said, feeling pretty positive, feeling pretty good. Rolled out of bed and felt like I basically topped off my sleep necessity to full. Like my sleep tanks were full. So now I think I'm going to go ahead and start my day in earnest, feed the dogs, hang out with the dogs, feed myself. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Charlie. Sit. Good boy. Shake. No, shake. 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 Shake, Charlie. Shake. No, whatever. Time to feed these dogs. Time to get my day going. Right, Egg? You hungry? You hungry, little baby? All right. More to come later. All right. It's about 10 o'clock on September 14th, night before the journey begins. I'm all packed up for the most part, still doing some laundry and waiting for some clothes to dry to add them to the bike. But got my bike all packed up. It's 29 pounds, the bike itself, without anything packed up, and it's 42 pounds with everything packed up. So I'm packing pretty light, about 15, I could probably do the math, let's say 30, maybe 13 pounds of stuff I'm bringing with me. And I think a lot of that's probably water. So, ready to go. Should be starting around 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Erica's going off to work pretty early. I think she's going to be there at 6:30. So I'm going to try to get up around the time she leaves so I can say goodbye to her. And then have a bit of a jump on my day. But yeah, not really much to say. Just talked to my parents. They're going to be my first stop on the way up to New York. Staying at their cabin, 130 miles northeast of the city. But just went through the whole house and got all the stuff that I needed from all the rooms. Still have to pack up my bike box. And then leave that out for the people to pick it up tomorrow. When the bike box is just going to contain my book bag with all my clothes that I'll wear in New York, and then I can use the bike box to put the bike in for our trip back on Amtrak. But yeah, it doesn't really feel real. I've had a lot of weird emotions all day thinking about it. Excitement, a little bit of dread, a little bit of thinking it might be too easy, thinking it might be too hard. The whole gauntlet of things that you could possibly consider for this kind of an endeavor. But I'm just going to continue with my normal nightly chores. Got to do the dishes, take the dogs for a walk, take a shower, relax, and then wake up bright and early, ready to go tomorrow. So hopefully everything goes well tomorrow. The weather looks like it's going to be pretty good. Like low 80s, 10-20% chance of rain. I'm bringing a little bit of rain gear for the trip and just kind of hoping that the weather holds out. But 10 days on the road, exposed for hours at a time, it seems pretty inevitable that I'm going to encounter some rain eventually. But I've got my waterproof socks and my little neoprene booties that I can put over my shoes. So hopefully I've got everything I need. Hopefully I've thought of everything I need. At this point, just got to go figure it out. So I'll go do that. Continue getting ready. It's 6:42 a.m., September 15th, Friday. I was laying in bed. I was going to wake up around 7, but Erica left at 6:30, and I was just laying in bed, and I couldn't really get back to sleep. She actually left around 6:15, so I was just kind of looking at stuff online and decided to go ahead and get up. I was reviewing the route for the day. I wanted to go over the vital statistics, what today is going to look like. And also wanted to kind of familiarize myself again with this route so I can sort of know what to expect turn by turn. So let's see. Routes. Day 1 to the cabin. So this is going to be 131 miles, 8,262 feet of elevation gain with a max grade of 12%. So nothing horrible, although I'm pretty sure that climb about 15 miles from my parents' cabin is definitely a little higher than 12%. But pretty gradual climbing. It goes from 1,000 to a maximum, 1,000 feet to a maximum feet of just a little shy of 2,500 feet. Gradually going upwards. So this is definitely getting me to the mountains for tomorrow when I bike to Asheville, which has got 2 pretty significant climbs. I'll go all over this tomorrow as well, give it day by day, but definitely as I go further and further north for the first couple days, it's going to be getting into those mountains, and so that's going to be where the climbing really presents itself, shall we say. And so for now, I'm just kind of getting stuff together. Just made some coffee. Let's see, do the NPR mug. But yeah, everything's pretty much packed. Went to bed reasonably early last night. I was in bed like at 12:30 probably, I guess. I don't really feel too nervous or anything. It seems a little still unreal, so I guess it'll really probably set in on that second day, because I've done this ride before, so I'm somewhat familiar with the route, and obviously I know the destination, my parents' cabin. But going to Asheville, that'll be a new experience, so I think that's when the adventure will really feel like it's starting to kick in. But I'll do another update before I leave here in a couple, I guess, an hour and 15 minutes or so. Alright, just about to head out. It's about 8:15. Spent quite a good bit of time this morning getting things ready. I think I've got everything I need. Hopefully everything holds up. I'm going to start the day off listening to the new Fleet Foxes album, which I really enjoyed when I was coming back from Chattanooga. So that'll be the jams for the first hour or so. And yeah, I'll check back in later today.
Did you change overnight? Second son on the other line. Now back in our town as a castaway, I'm reminded of the time it all fell in line on the 3rd of May. As if it were designed, painted in sand till they washed away. Oh, but I can hear you out in the center. Aren't we made to be crowded together like too slow? Did I change overnight? Second son. for the second time. Crime after crime to confess to, but I hold the fleet angel, she'll bless you. Hold fast to the wind, hold fast to the wind.
It's just a little after 8 a.m. here, day 2 of the trip. Didn't record anything last night because I was up here with my parents, and we just ended up talking for a long time, eating dinner, having a fire, drinking some wine, drinking some beers. So I didn't really step away or anything to reflect. I think for the rest of the trip, since I'll be by myself, for the most part anyway, it should be a little bit easier for me to take some time to step away and kind of talk about how the trip's going and everything. But yesterday, first day, was good. No mechanical issues. Felt pretty good throughout and feel pretty good today. So I'm excited and ready to get up to Asheville, 100 miles from here. 2 fairly significant climbs along the way. One that says it's 38% grade at its worst, so I guess we'll see how that is, because that's pretty horrible. But good night yesterday, good day yesterday, hoping for the same today, keeping fingers crossed as we move on into day 2 and 8 days until New York. So this is where things really take a shift and go toward being new and unknown for sure. I mean, I know some of this ride that I'll be doing today up through Highlands and stuff, but I've definitely never gone beyond Highlands to, I've never biked to Asheville, obviously, but again, this cabin area and this whole route getting up here was somewhat familiar. I remember doing it with James a couple months ago. So this is exciting. This is when the real ride, I think, is going to start, and you're going to see how much I can wear myself down, I guess, and keep going still. But, you know, Mark Beaumont is, I guess he's on like day 77 of going around the world, 240 miles a day, and even through all the trials and tribulations there, he's managed to keep going. So I think I can manage 8 more days of 100 miles plus a day. And in fact, I've got a couple days where it's not quite 100 miles, so there's some quote-unquote recovery in there as well, which should be good for the legs. I know they've got like an 80-mile day and then a 70-mile day. I think the rest of them are pretty much 100, 130. The last 2 days are 150. But yeah, about 100 miles today, like I said, and about 9,000 feet of climbing. 2 mountains that it will be significant. One of them's pretty early in the ride, and one of them's sort of 3/4 of the way through. But it looks like I'll kind of hit a downhill that will take me most of the way into Asheville after I climb that second mountain about, I don't know, I guess 70 miles into the actual ride. I'm standing outside right now. It's a little chilly. So I've got the dryer going to dry my clothes up a little bit, so I put them on and I don't get shocked. And I'm actually standing right by the exhaust vent for the dryer heat. So got that going on my feet, which feels really good because it's chilly out here and I'm not wearing a shirt. So more updates to come. Alright, first clip while biking. I'm in the Pisgah Forest, headed towards Blue Ridge Highway. Very beautiful in here, great scenery. Really surprised at how easy the climbing is so far. I might be jinxing myself by saying that, but it's been pretty smooth, like steady 6% climb for a couple few miles, and I don't know. The climbing this morning, this is day 2, from my parents' cabin up to Highlands. That was a bitch. That was just warming up first thing in the morning, climbing like 6 miles, a couple thousand feet. Pretty intense. I mean, nothing that was overly daunting, but not an easy climb. You know, today's 9,000 feet of elevation gain, or of climbing anyway, and done about 6,000 I think so far. About 35 miles outside of Asheville. Things going well, feeling good. Relatively short day today, like 103 miles. And the fun and the climbing continues for the next few days, culminating with a 10,000 foot climbing day early in the week next week. But yeah, just
listening to podcasts, Joe Rogan and Brendan Schwab in particular. That just got me through the last 3.5 hours, which was pretty great. Didn't even really have to think too much about anything, just listen. About to listen to Comedy Bang Bang now. And just thought it was a good time to make a clip. I was saying this morning that I didn't record anything last night. Probably should have, just to get a little bit of atmosphere. But it was good spending that first day with my parents. I know my mom's pretty worried about this trip, and with good reason. Change of gear. It's certainly dangerous in theory, this trip. So I'm trying to be as careful as possible. But, spend time with her, talking with her before my dad arrived. Then my dad showed up, brought pizza, all sitting by the fire. As it got darker and darker, and the conversation went on, it was just good. I feel like these days, when I see my parents, we're kind of getting more and more on the same level. Just seeing each other as people, and friends would be kind of stretching it, I think. But just respecting each other, what our lives are about, what we want, where things are going. It's cool to get to that point with parents. And last night was certainly just nice. So it'll be interesting to get to Asheville now by myself when this trip really begins. And meet some people, drink some drinks, hang out, try to switch into the gear. All right, the real climb might be about to start now. I guess I didn't really have much to say, except just to second what I said this morning about how nice it was last night. So, if the departure is any indication of the rest of the trip, it's going to be a great trip. And as I go further and further into these wilderness spots, I'm definitely liking that much more than going through those nasty cities out of Atlanta, trying to get to the mountains. Okay, this is ramping up. I'll get back to you later. All right, I feel like a drug addict, walking around Asheville trying to find a spot where I can sit down and talk and not have a million people looking at me while I do it. It's like trying to find a place to shoot up or something. But I'm in Asheville. Just had a delicious Thai food dinner. Had some pad siu and some chicken coconut soup. Now I just got a decaf Americano. Walking around Asheville, I'm very impressed with this city. It's there's a ton of people all over the place. And how I wasn't so sure that none of them gave a shit about anyone. I'd probably be kind of nervous because there's just so many people walking by. It's just I don't know. In Atlanta, you very rarely see this many people out and about. I mean, it is Saturday night, so I guess that makes sense, but even still, impressive amount of people. So, since that last clip, I have made it to Asheville. And that climb, when I stopped talking on the last clip, it was definitely at the part of the climb where things got hard. That was like a 20-mile climb. It felt, maybe not that much, but it was a very long climb today. Two of them, really. The hardest one was at the beginning of the day, getting out of Rabun County and going further northeast. The second one through Brevard was actually not that bad. It was consistent, but it wasn't the grade didn't get too out of control. I think it would go from 5% to 8 to 9%, which, 9% isn't comfortable, but at some point today, apparently I hit a 38% grade. I don't know where that happened, but that was supposed to be the max grade for today. But I've had my beer, I've had my food. The hostel I'm staying at is pretty amazing. I'll probably head back there shortly after nightfall. I don't know what time it is. Let me see. It's getting dark, so it's probably like 7:45 or something like that. 7:47. Probably head back soon. I'm debating whether or not to do laundry there. They have some machines at the hostel, Sweet Peas Hostel. It's $1. It's like $2.50 to do a load of washing and drying. It might be worth it. I don't know. I have to think about it. Tomorrow, heading to Johnson City, Tennessee. So that'll be the next state that I hit. Another 100-mile day tomorrow. Another 9,000 feet of climbing. I don't know the vital statistics for it, but I can pull it up because we should go ahead and take a look, see what the numbers are for tomorrow in terms of like max grade and stuff like that. Thai food was really good. My server was extremely nice. It was exactly what I wanted. I'm walking around, being in a new city, I don't really know what there is to see or to do. There's a bunch of birds flying overhead. That's cool, as long as I don't get shit on. Don't really know what to do, so I started walking up the street after I got my coffee. So it's like any street I choose is going to be just as good as any other. So just kind of wandering around aimlessly, seeing what there is. I'm sure as the night drags on, like the only thing available will probably be bars. I'm not super interested in that. I did stop at a convenience store a second ago, got a few more bars because I'm running low, quote unquote. I still have like 8 or 9, but definitely don't have as many as when I started. And I want to make sure I don't get to a point where I have too few. So let's see. Tomorrow, got Johnson City, 101 miles, 9,160 feet of climbing, max grade of 14%. It's not bad. Looks like I'll have a climb pretty soon after I leave. Looks like it lasts about looks like it's gonna happen 5 or 10 miles into the ride, and it looks like it goes for about 15 miles, and there's like a false descent, then another ascent, and then another descent, and then there's a bunch of descending, some little peaks and stuff like that. So another day of climbing. Obviously, if I've got 9,000 feet in front of me, then it's going to be a day of climbing. But it should be fine. My friend Carl, who recently moved to Colorado, he has biked across the United States before, and I was talking to him a lot about what he did earlier in the summer, just trying to get a feel for it when I was still trying to plan out what I wanted to do. And he was saying when it comes to big climbs, you just find a pace that works. You just find something that's comfortable and sustainable. And having to do 10 days, basically 10 centuries in 10 days. I'm not trying to kill it up the climbs or up the hills or anything like that. I'm not racing, so I'm just trying to settle in and get where I'm going quickly. Today I think it was 14.9 miles per hour average speed, or maybe even a little less with all the climbing that I did, which, is reasonable. I'm not sure if Mark Beaumont had that many days of sub 15, but I'm not trying to get around the world in 80 days or anything like that. So today when I was biking, I listened to mostly podcasts. I know last clip when I was climbing, I was listening to Joe Rogan, which that was a great thing. That was just kind of got in the zone and just zoned out, just biked, one pedal in front of the other. Carl was just telling me you just got to find your pace and just go, and that's what I did today. The second climb of the day, the real mountain ascent, it was long and it was arduous, and I went at just a normal speed. My bike's really heavy, so it's not sensible to try to push a fast speed up the mountain, because that's just going to exhaust me, and then I'm going to pay for it the next day. So, pacing myself, definitely pacing myself. I got Erica a little souvenir today when I came in. Right next to the hostel, there was a craft type store. That was exactly what I was hoping to find to get Erica something. And I did a little fridge magnet, a little cute keepsake. I can't get too much stuff, because it would be heavy, and I also just don't have very much room. But yeah, it was a good day today. I mean, there were a few sections I wasn't very keen on. Like once I got out of Brevard and going down the what's that thing called, Blue Ridge Parkway, things got kind of nasty. I was just like in this industrial area all over again. It reminded me of being in Atlanta. I was just like, oh, fuck this. The last 5 miles into Asheville were not scenic, not really enjoyable, but I just, did it. Who cares? Just got to get where you're going. Took an awesome shower when I got here, or reorganized all my stuff. The hostel is huge. It's like they've got a bunk bed system, and there's probably close to 30 beds, maybe. Showers, a little common area, a kitchen, books, stuff all around. It's pretty cool. I don't really know what I know Asheville is called like the Portland of the East or something like that, but I don't know anything about the city other than that. I don't know like if there's a large homeless population, or if there's crime here, or if there's certain streets I shouldn't walk down. I really don't know any of that stuff. So it's kind of interesting because everything just seems innocent walking down all these streets and just like kind of taking it in. Sort of, I guess, maybe a good pre-New York kind of thing. So I think I'm going to probably be overwhelmed by all the people that are there. I mean, I think, New York has that sort of attitude where everyone kind of keeps themselves and doesn't care. I think you kind of have to do that if there are so many people around. Like, I was pretty overwhelmed just a second ago walking down the street. There's just so many people. And I'm sure New York is, like, obviously a lot bigger than Asheville, North Carolina. So it'll be interesting to get to New York and walk down the streets and just kind of, I don't know. Like in Atlanta, I feel like I typically will look at the people who are out and about, because I feel like there's like a chance I might actually know them. Like Atlanta's such a small city, and it's so rare that people are outside. Like if you do see someone out, I don't know, it's like 1 out of every 20 people I feel like I know. And I can think of examples off the top of my head. It's people who I see throughout the week, and I kind of feel like, oh, I think I know that person, and then I either do or I don't. And sometimes I do. A little bit more coffee. I'll probably just keep recording until I finish this cup. I only have like 2.5 more sips. Yeah, feel pretty good in general. I mean, I'm a little bit sore, but this is fun. I think yesterday I was already thinking like this may not be something I want to do again, just because I was biking on roads I already knew, so it didn't really feel exciting. But today, going on these roads that I've never been on, it was a lot more fun. I mean, I think the first 30 miles when I was going up through Highlands, I'd already done that before, so I knew what to expect. But everything beyond that was pretty much new, and that was cool. Just not knowing what was around each turn and being pleasantly surprised for the majority of the ride. I think today was like 105 miles. There were a few squirrely parts, a couple things that were just like, what the fuck is going on? My little GPS unit was like not really helping me out at a couple points, and I almost ate some shit too. I was going through this weird like little path that was on the river here in Asheville. I don't know what river it is, and there was like this fucked up bit of concrete where it came to this weird crest, and like it kind of ramped me up, and I wasn't expecting it, and my hands weren't like in the best position to control the bike, so almost went down. And I was thinking the other day, this many bike rides in succession, there's a good chance that something will happen, whether it be mechanical or some sort of a weird little wreck or something. There's a lot of time to be on the bike, and the more you're on the bike, the more the chances are that something could go wrong. So almost happened today, thankfully not. One thing I did want to say though that was interesting, well, first of all, I should review the fortune that I got at the Thai restaurant, if I can find my wallet. So I got this fortune. It says, from now on, your kindness will lead you to success, which doesn't necessarily mean anything profound, but I had an incident today where when I was biking up the second mountain through Brevard, I found an iPhone that was still working, and it wasn't destroyed or damaged or anything, but I was just biking up the mountain and I was going slow enough, and I always looked down, so I just happened to see it and I was like, wow. Found it, picked it up. I was trying to figure out if there was any way I could like locate the owner through it, but it was locked and I couldn't guess the code, and so the only thing I had was like the emergency dialer, which isn't very helpful because I'm trying to find out whose it is and not actually call somebody. So I thought, whatever, I'll hold on to it. Maybe they'll call the phone while I continue to trudge up this mountain. And I was also thinking, because Erica, her phone recently, she dropped it at the gym, or it fell at the gym and broke her iPhone 6 or something like that, 6S, I don't know. And so I was thinking, if I wasn't able to find the owner, I would just keep it and give it to Erica, and then she'd have a new phone. Which, I mean, that's like the best you can do. It wouldn't be worth all the hassle to try to figure out whose it was if I hadn't found the owner. But I did find the owner. It happened at the next overlook. I was trying to find people who looked like they were distraught, like as you would be if you had lost your iPhone. And I found this group of motorcyclists huddled together, and I was like, oh, they look like they're trying to use like the Find My iPhone app or something like that. So I went over to them and I was like, have you guys like dropped or lost a phone or anything? And they were like, no, we haven't, but she has. And they were pointing at some car that was about to drive away. And so everyone was all of a sudden like jumping up and down, waving their hands like, hey, wait. And so gave it to this woman who said it was hers. I kind of wanted to be like, can you unlock the screen just to confirm that it's yours? Because, I want this phone too. But I didn't do that. I just gave it to her. And she was very appreciative. She said that she was a photographer, and that she wasn't going to be able to make it to her next appointment if she didn't have her phone, and she would, I don't know what the fuck that means for her. But anyway, she was very appreciative, and so when I was at the Thai restaurant, I was like, I feel like one of these I got 2 fortune cookies, and I was like, one of these probably has something to do with what happened today that will be relatable with the iPhone and making sure it gets back to the rightful owner and all. And so that kind of happened, which is cool. Yeah, I guess that's basically it. I finished my coffee. I'm just sitting I'm sitting on a staircase that is away from the street and away from the view of anyone who would be walking by. It's some federal building, so I guess it's probably been closed all day. There's no one around. Just sitting on the steps of it. It's pretty comfortable. I think I probably make my way slowly but surely back to the hostel now. Maybe throw the laundry in just to get some of the salt and butt sweat off. And probably go to bed shortly thereafter. The laundry probably take an hour and a half or so. So, that sounds about right. Get in bed 10:30, sleep till 7, start the whole thing over again. And I'm excited for the next day. Excited for all these days of just not knowing what the day is going to bring. And I don't stop while I'm biking, really. I have stopped at McDonald's the past 2 days to get egg biscuits and fill up my water, which is good. It's a good plan because McDonald's are ubiquitous, and when I was doing rides over the summer and I'd have to stop to fill up all my water bottles, which I carry like 3 liters of water with me all the time, it would be like close to $10 to fill them up, which is, there's a lot of money just for water. So you go to McDonald's, get an egg biscuit, which is $2, and then you fill up all your water for free. So it's a good trade because I can do that in the middle of the day, like at the 4-hour mark of the ride. Fill up all my bottles and also have something to eat that is going to help me through the next section of biking. So yeah, it's a life hack for you, McDonald's. I'm trying to think if there's anything else notable today. I don't really think so because like I said, didn't really stop the most exciting part of the day has been being here in Nashville. I could definitely see myself living here in a way. Like, I don't actually think I'd want to move here, just because that'd be a big hassle to uproot myself and move all the way over here. But it's a really cool city, and if I had to like choose a close city to move to, this would probably be prime choice. So yeah, I'm gonna go walk the streets a little bit more, meander my way back to the hostel, and probably do some laundry, go to sleep. Simple life. That's what this trip's all about. Doing something really difficult and hard that isn't complicated, but it's taxing for sure. But yeah, I'm digging it. Staying safe, staying smart. See you tomorrow.